I mean, all I can say about it is, CXX was quite handsome. I liked his furniture. he rented the dingiest apartment you could find in whatever city they were in.
Because he had to. That was the only way he was going to live there according to the Hi, this is Juniper.
Hi, this is Elle.
And this is the podcast without a name because we just decided to record something today.
Yes, we're very excited.
I'm still working on my voice, so I just realized that I sound really nasally, and so hopefully this was a good way for me to nasalize myself. Is that a word?
Well, we can both learn to enunciate more clearly.
Wait, say that again?
Enunciate. Enunciate.
Sorry, I just had to ask. Can you say that again?
Yes, of course.
So, Elle, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, we talked about before that we would talk about Chinese dramas.
Yes, so far so good.
So far so good. Especially one of our favorite actors right now. Mm-hmm. I can't say his name because I always say it wrong.
Chen Xingxu.
Yes.
Oliver Chen.
Yes.
Not sure if anyone actually knows that his name is Oliver because I don't think he even knows his name is Oliver.
I don't think he uses it.
This is the problem with Asian actors. They all have random, non-Asian names that nobody in Asia knows.
Well, plus I think they're not allowed to use it now, right? The CCP.
Oh, that's true. It's probably not a cool thing.
The CCP?
We'll edit that out.
I think it's frowned upon in Chinese entertainment now to use their English names unless they're from abroad. I believe. Yeah. So I think the people who are still they're from Canada or America, they can still use their American names or English.
Who's left?
I don't know. I think even for a while, Angelababy was thought to not be allowed to use Angelababy anymore because it's English. So, but then no one knows her real name, and no one ever calls her by her Chinese name. So that's a big rebrand right there. If she had to rebrand herself.
Rebranding.
But anyways, back to the actor.
Oh, yeah, Chen Xingxu. We'll call him CXX because it's easier.
Yes, for me.
CX squared, how's that?
Yeah.
That sounds like a new formula.
Yeah.
What would it be formula for?
Oh, like a
really good-looking guy.
Like an energy drink?
That looks either 10 years older or 10 years younger on any given day.
I remember the first time I saw him, I thought he was super old. I thought he was 35. I thought he was 35, and then I found he was 24 when he was acting in Starry Love.
No, he wasn't. He was 26.
No, 24.
25, 26.
He's 27 now, so that was, 2-3 years ago when he filmed, right?
So he's aging backwards.
Yes.
Benjamin Button CX squared.
I mean... Yes. It could be also bad makeup or filtering.
Definitely bad. So this is what I get mad about. So Starry Love was the show that you got introduced to him on, right? I guess for me too, technically.
You told me about him.
First full one I've watched.
You're the one that told me to watch Starry Love.
Yeah. So yes, I was it was on Youku, which is a platform, like a Netflix. It's actually not the Netflix of China, but one of the streaming platforms.
Like a Hulu.
What would you think of actually as the Youku equivalent? Hulu or Amazon Prime?
I thought it was Hulu. I don't know. What's the biggest platform in China? If it's
Tencent.
Tencent?
But iQIYI, I think, is more Netflix in my view. This is the equivalent, right? iQIYI is more like Netflix in terms of volume and quality. Tencent is the big money, so I guess you could argue Tencent's more like Amazon, in that they just have money to throw at things.
Is Tencent Mango?
No. Mango's like a little...
Mango's a different one.
It's Mango is like the web streaming arm of, I think, Hunan Television.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So
it's not really a drama center.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Anyways, the big three are Tencent, Aichi and Yuku. And Yuku's always the laughing stock because they're like the cheapest or
Low budget.
yeah. So they're like the Hulu. But see, in America, Hulu's actually not considered low quality. Low volume, maybe. But there's actually high quality. I would say Hulu has better programming when it is good versus Amazon Prime.
But Hulu is only US, I think. They're not international the way Netflix is.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay, so him.
Yes.
You want to share some impressions? First impressions, other than he was really old looking.
Okay, so first impression was, who's this old looking dude? Why is why is he the lead? But slowly, as I watched, I was like, okay, I can appreciate. I think, okay, the moment I appreciated his acting in Starry Love was, this is a spoiler, but he gets split into different souls, and then he has to play the different personalities of each soul. And I liked when he started playing the second soul. The first soul, I was still like, okay, like he's playing kind of like a...
But he's adorable.
I know, but that wasn't like, to me, like, oh, exemplarily, like...
Hey, it takes technique to grunt like that.
Yes. You know, he was like, okay, that's fine. But then when he started playing the second soul, it was a completely different character from the first two. And then I was like, wait a minute, this guy can act. Like, he's actually playing characters in a way where I forgot he was that guy, even though it's his face. But even his face to me changed. I mean, the only difference was like his hair. But like when I watched it, I was like, wait, it's like a different person, which I think is a sign of very, very good acting.
Is it acting or a good makeup job?
I don't know.
Both. You have to inhibit the role.
Yeah, I mean,
Inhabit the role. Inhibit would be limiting the role.
Yes. He had to do the opposite.
Hey, that was a short English tutorial for those people who care.
So I think, yeah, I remember I was like, wait, he plays like this very, like a money-grubbing guy. And it's very different from like the justice, upholding justice and rules and traditions that the first character played. And he did it, I thought, very well. So then that's how I started to be like, all right, I want to see his other stuff. How about you? When did you first like his acting?
I've known about him here and there. He broke out in Goodbye My Princess, I think years ago. I never watched it before, but heard about him, and I've seen clips. It's always on YouTube. And I thought, gosh, he's very handsome and princely, right? But not in like your typical princely manner. But I never watched the show because it was so... You knew it was tragic. It was going to be like angst-ridden tragedy. So when this came out, and my friend, our friend actually said, hey, you should check this out. It's a hilarious show. And I was like, wow, it looks really cheap, right? Would you say? It's a high budget but cheap looking show?
Yeah, even the posters did not...
Yeah, I don't know. It looked like it came out in 1990s China.
Yes, the Photoshop is so bad.
It's like they did it on purpose to make it look old-fashioned.
Yes.
Which really belies the quality and entertainment value of the show.
Right.
Which actually speaks to how good the show is for people to all like stick with it, right, and watch it. Anyway, so I watched it, and I at first thought, oh my god, this poor guy is no longer the beautiful, handsome prince I know from my YouTube clips. But then a lot of people had issues with his voice. I did not.
I liked his voice.
I thought it was very unique for especially an Asian actor because it was so manly. Sounds like a bass baritone, right? And you know how I love opera and opera singers, especially lower register. So anyways, that really attracted me. And I think some of the costuming, even in the first arc of the show when they're like in the heavenly realm, it was bland looking except for when he had his armor on. I thought that looked really good with the ponytail. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, that looks like normal. So then you knew it was kind of like a costuming and makeup issue. And maybe it was by choice, right? Because he at first started out playing the character. The character was supposed to be this bland, stick in the mud,
unfeeling.
Because he cut out all his emotions.
Yes.
So it made sense. And then when, again, spoilers, he dies the first time because, this is an Asian fantasy, so people die and come back and die and come back again. The first time he died, I thought it was very nicely done. Okay,
I don't actually remember. I have to go rewatch
He's like lying on the bed, and his he never closed his eyes.
Oh, I have to rewatch
Because the
that.
girl was like, don't close your eyes on me.
Oh. That was before his soul split? Or after? Are you talking about the end?
He died.
End?
At
Oh,
the-
the end.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember that. I have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, it's like lying on the bed and then he eventually dissipates because his
yeah.
soul's gone.
Mhm.
I thought that was very pretty. Now, who knows when they actually shot it, but maybe it's the sequence in which they shot it. So yeah. And then I watched like the three soul shards were interesting. The third one was especially beautiful.
The soul?
Yeah.
I
The romantic one.
Yes. I actually like that character the most, even though I think
He's the least liked,
he's the least like because he's smarmy and kind of perverse. And,
Yeah.
But it was funny because his character was like, oh, you don't like me? That's okay. I'll just move on to the next one. Like the world is his oyster kind of thing, right? Like, oh, I'm not gonna be sad and dejected. I was just like, oh, you don't like my charm? Someone else will. I like that for that character.
Okay,
I
we now
wouldn't
know
want a
your
man-
ideal.
No. I don't want that.
Does your husband do this?
No, but I think knowing that he's a piece of that character, it was fun to watch because, like you said, he was unfeeling in the beginning, and then you didn't know he had it in him to have all these different facets to the character, which in the end, when he comes back, makes him really fully dimensional. So yes, so that I did really enjoy the acting in that. And, I mean, the show is really funny too. Like, he's not the only one. Like the whole cast.
Oh yeah, the whole show is
The whole
hilarious.
thing.
Like very well thought out and then very well executed from a acting
Yes.
and both individual as well as ensemble acting.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
The dynamics between it's very well cast.
Yeah, I mean, the story is really supposed to focus on two sisters, right? And in the beginning, it could be one of those where like one sister is pitted against the other sister, but it was never that. Like they were like sisters in the most loving way till the end. Like no matter how bad things were, they were always supportive of one another. And even though there's romance in it, it's also like a drama about sisterly love and support. And I thought that was refreshing. Actually, it reminded me of Frozen. You know?
Oh god, not my favorite movie.
I know, but like I feel like, having grown up on the other older Disney movies, like to see when Frozen came out and you have the end where like the real twist of saving one sister is that the other sister sacrificed herself, right? It wasn't like to find her true love. Her true love was not like the guy waiting and around the bed. It was to do an act of true love to save Elsa, which is what Anna did. So, like, to me...
spoilers, guys,
Yeah,
for those
sorry.
of you who don't know how
Who've never watched
Frozen goes.
Frozen.
To be honest, I forgot, so.
Yeah. So I feel like it's a little bit of that where, like, it's not one of those tropes where, oh, you sisters grew... they were raised together, but the dad, doted on one and not the other, and therefore there's, like, this deep hatred or jealousy. Like, it wasn't done in that way, which was actually quite refreshing from a Chinese drama perspective.
Well, I think the whole show is set up to subvert tropes and expectations, right?
Yeah, I mean,
And they play it for laughs.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of comedy built even into the dialogue, into the little subplots where they didn't have to do it that way, but they did it, and it was just really funny.
Yeah, I wish the show had more exposure. I think it's actually been more popular outside of China than it is in China. But I also think that it's one of those like word of mouth shows that people still watch because someone recommended to someone who then recommended it to someone else. So if nothing else, highly recommend you check out the Starry Love.
Yes. I mean, I also think it helps that it's not modern. So, like, when it's costume drama... I mean, I guess the only thing that would date it are, like, the CG effects.
The CG is actually pretty good.
Yeah, the CG effects
I just don't like the designs that much.
I didn't, like... I felt like...
and the makeup. Like, all that purple
Yeah.
and white.
Yeah.
It's like a bruise.
But it was still...
Washed out, too.
It was very washed out. It wasn't like there weren't gradient or hues of it. It was like that one standard coloring.
So aesthetically speaking, and because we're not in China, so I heard, right, in China, there were so many complaints about the filter and the color gradient choices Youku made when they uploaded the video. They re-uploaded it, changed the filter, and it looks so much better. And you can see clips of the newer versions that people upload, but we're not there, so we can't access it. We get the original upload version that looks like someone spilled like baby powder all over the screen and then smudged it with My Little Pony pastel colored crayons.
That's unfortunate that we can't get them. See, like we were just having this conversation about like this other channel on YouTube where they create a second channel to upload like my boss. So there's like Youku should just create like a new re-upload.
No, they're not that kind of a
I know.
business.
It would be nice if they said, here's the I don't know, not renovated version, but like the renovated
version. What contractor did you use?
Someone with better eyes, I guess, to do that. But anyways, yeah. So that was the first drama we watched. CXX.
And then I said, okay, now it's time to finally throw in the towel and watch Goodbye My Princess. And I think I watched it ahead of you on YouTube because it's available on YouTube with not so great subtitles, I would say. And I would say there were two versions of the show out there. The one that's on YouTube now is they recut longer director's version with 55 episodes, which is a long show. Like Starry Love is 40 episodes, but it's a very easy 40. Goodbye My Princess was 50 episodes, and at first you're like, wow, this is kind of a plotting slog, like where are we going with this? But it's actually a really important setup. And I would say you probably have to get through the first 12 episodes to really appreciate where it's going. And I think I texted you when that happened. I was like, I am on the edge of my seat, and this is giving me like anxiety because of what happens, right? At the end of that first arc, you're just kind of like, this is already so burdened, like the heartache or whatever, the tragedy, right? That you feel for all of these people is already so heavy on your mind. And then it just resets. You're kind of like, what?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And they all go back to happy-go-lucky land, and you're just like, oh, this is so sweet. They're like kind of cute, little bickering kids.
Yes. So for me it was interesting when I watched it. CXX I think was 21 when he filmed it.
Yeah.
So he actually
might have been even younger actually.
Yeah, he actually looked very, in my untrained eyes, like unused to his face, he looked very young. He looked almost like a baby, not a literal baby, but like very baby faced and youthful, which I think worked for the character because that was probably the age. Actually, in the novel, he's younger. He's even younger. I think in the novel, she was supposed to be like 14, 15, and he would have been like 18, 19. So, close. I mean, the actress was also like 9, 10 years older than him, but she looked very youthful. So they matched well. But when I looked at his face, I was like, it was like a different person again. But acting wise, more raw, I guess. I mean, I think maybe that was partly the requirement of this more realistic setting. But two, I think he really, using the word, inhabited that character, because it was like, it's a very angst-ridden character. It's a character who holds a lot of regret, holds a lot of, I wouldn't say terror, but he had to become terrible to fight the opponents that were coming after him. And
hold on. I would actually never think of, and I know his character gets bashed on the internet a lot, especially in China. I don't think he's a horrible person.
I don't think he's horrible.
I think he has to be ruthless. Yes. And he had to grow more ruthless.
Yes.
To protect the things and people he loved. There was only at the end when he felt threatened, his love was threatened, that he went a little bit haywire.
I think...
But she drove me nuts.
Well, yeah. She was... Well, I liked her more in the novel. I only read the English translation. I liked her more in the novel because you understood her brain more. I think in the
But
drama,
it was all from her subjective view,
yes,
right? The novel?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I mean, they did change one piece of the character for CXX in terms of that. In the novel, he I don't know, can we use the word? He raped her.
He did that in the show.
In the show? I don't remember that.
Yeah, he did.
Was it as clear? Because I feel like they might not have made it as clear in the show. Because I don't remember it the way I remember it in the novel. In the novel, they definitely go into the, not details, but they like there were 2-3 paragraphs very specifically, not like sugarcoating the fact that he assaulted her and that she was very upset. I feel like in the drama, maybe for censorship reasons,
they cut.
Yeah, I don't remember it being. But again, I don't. Maybe I watched it too. Maybe I was too busy reading
subtitles. It was
subtitles.
towards the end when he thought she had disappeared, like been kidnapped again. Mm-hmm. She disappeared because she basically.
She's always trying to run away.
She realized their history. Mm-hmm. She remembered before he did, and he was looking for her, and he was so worried, right? But then she said some really, really mean things to him. And he got mad, and basically she was trying to basically set him off, and she succeeded, I guess. And he carried her to their bedroom because she's his wife.
Oh, okay, yes.
And then you don't see that, and then you see the next day, and she's still like, "I don't love you. I love this other person who." Realistically was him.
Right. Spoiler alert.
Very confusing story, right? So yeah. So yes, that is not a savory aspect of his character.
Right.
But
maybe of the times though, like if we're talking about historical,
like the feudal times when he had so-called rights over her as his wife.
Right.
Right? Because in his mind, he's like, I've been super protective and respectful, and I care so much about you, and blah 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 blah. How can you be so heartless and mean, right, to me about and laugh in my face, basically.
Yeah. Well, plus his character is more fleshed out in the drama. I mean, I think that helped a lot because, like you said, the novel is written from the female protagonist's perspective, and she doesn't even understand why he's hot and cold towards her.
She never grows up in the show though. She's just an unreasonable person.
But she's still really young because it's only been 1 or 2 years in the entirety.
They're both really young.
Yeah, they're really they never grew up basically. They were just so stuck in their heads and stuck in the limitations of their roles in society. I think maybe if they had time, right? But they didn't give themselves much time either. Like he's always worried about the next threat coming along, and she's always threatened to run away, and she did run away a few times. So I feel like he was always on edge. Like there's gonna be one day she's gonna run off and I'll never find her again. Which was
he had to mind everything, right? Not get killed, not let anyone else get killed, get rid of all the people who are gonna kill them.
Yes.
And worry about his stupid wife running off.
It's Game of Thrones without the dragons.
Except he has to manage every aspect single-handedly.
Yes, he had no one he could trust.
He has no one that loved him, that he could love in very transparent, open manner. That she was the only kind of hope or light in his life, right? And she was extremely unreasonable. I just thought it was hilarious at the end when she finally runs away back to her own country, and then she's like, oh, I guess that was a bad idea.
Right, because it's not the place that she left anymore.
Well, it's not even that. She finally realizes there are consequences to your actions.
Oh, yes.
I was like, well, this is stupid.
But it's also, it's something that could happen, right? Because if it's someone who is naive in their worldview, the way she is. I mean, she was not subject to any information. Like, they don't tell her anything. They just said, go live in your room. You're well fed. You're well clothed. You have no reason to be doing anything that doesn't follow what we ask of you. And in her rebellious mind, it's like, no, there's more to life than this, and I'm so miserable stuck in here. and she doesn't realize about the dangers outside.
So really, for parents out there, if you have teenage, rebellious teenagers, let them rebel.
Let them rebel.
Yeah, they have to live their own lives.
Yes.
And the more you interfere and try to do what you think is right for them, the worse it's going to get between you and for them.
Right.
They have to come to, this is at the end of the day what life is all about, right? You have to live it. Mm-hmm. Now, whether you survive the living of it is a whole different matter.
Right. Right. Because if she hadn't been so sheltered to begin with, maybe she would have had some street smarts to navigate. But she wasn't. She was very sheltered.
And
doted upon.
Yeah.
I mean, even her quote-unquote master, he didn't really... I don't feel he taught her anything.
He was the worst character, though.
He was, yeah. And he was actually not as bad in the novel.
Oh, I'm sure. But
he was more annoying in the drama, but that's because they had to flush him out.
That and probably the way the actor carried out the role.
Yeah, I felt like it's one of those, I thought...
He came across as so smarmy. Smarmy not in he's a sleazy smarmy. Just smarmy in oh god, this guy's annoying. I just want to slap him.
Well, because it was unrequited love, and you either, in current tropey world, you either feel bad for him or you just go away. So in this case, he did not execute where you're oh, I really feel for him as a second male lead. It's all right, you're just too old and you're not exciting, and she thinks of you as an uncle.
Well, and he's very manipulative.
Yeah.
The prince wasn't as manipulative actually towards her. He's manipulative to everyone else, but he wasn't manipulative towards her.
Yeah, her mistake was that she thought he was manipulating her. That was her mistake. That she didn't trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, she was the only one he didn't manipulate.
Right. But it's understandable why she didn't trust him because of what happened before. At that 12th episode.
We're all breathing stuff.
Yes.
I was I think, actually one of the most tragic, because there's a lot of very heart-wrenching moments in the show, right? I think the most so I think, where was I before we were unfortunately interrupted by footsteps. So most heart-wrenching moments in the show, goodbye my princess, I can't say the show, was around that episode 12th 13th mark when they go into battle and he goes with the cousin and the brother or whatever. and then he turns around and they're come back, what are you doing, where are you going? On the battlefield he runs over.
Yes.
And then it took him a while to realize that's what was happening.
Right. Are we doing spoilers, or
I think we already spoiled most things.
Yeah.
Well, we're not.
I think the theme of the show is that there is just betrayal everywhere, and that's why there's no trust, right? Even when it comes to the couple that is in love with each other, but at least on her end, there's no trust or very little trust.
I think the theme of the show is life sucks. But, I don't even think spoilers matter. I'm sorry, that was really loud. Because to me, a show like that, you watch it not to understand the plot, although that's important. There's some intricacies, right? Some people watch Game of Thrones for the actual who's going to ultimately become the king or queen. But it's the dynamics between the characters and the life, right? Life stories and the just kind of the progression, how they came to be. The paths they took and why.
Right.
And then what kind of fruit did it bear? But anyways, so that was to me actually a very poignant maybe is not the right word, memorable part, emotionally speaking, because he really did he was justified in his mind doing what he did, right? He was always the spy infiltrator. To them, it was oh my God, it was betrayal.
Yeah, we embraced you as a comrade and as a brother and your family. He was embraced as family, right? So that was it's probably worse than Game of Thrones. I don't think Game of Thrones even had anything that would pull at the heartstring at that level, where it's like
I'm not a Game of Thrones watcher, but it's more overt, right? In Game of Thrones, who's out to get whom,
like
and
it's
why?
More, the delineations between your loyalties are more clear cut.
You know
who your enemies are. I think in this scenario, you thought your enemy was
your friend, or your family,
right?
And under normal situations, he probably would have been fine with, like, they would have been brothers, like they would have been very good brothers.
Yeah, but they were on the opposite sides. So, and he had no choice. He was under a command to do this. If it could have been one of those marriages for political, what's the word? Political alliance
or benefit, whatever.
Yeah, then it would have been different. But it was never.
It was a political alliance marriage.
Yeah, but there was something in the plot where they were like they couldn't trust. Oh, because of in the beginning, he was attacked, remember, in the woods?
That was the whole reason why he did what he did.
Yeah.
Because
so this was
his understanding, her
revenge.
people were responsible for sneak attacking him and his brother and killed his brother.
Right. Yeah.
So in his mind, he's also justified.
Yes.
And her people are warlike.
Right. He just didn't realize he would actually fall in love. He thought he would just infiltrate and be all fake, and he can go back to his palace life. But
he didn't really care for that either. He wanted his brother to be the emperor.
Yeah, he had to grow up quickly, right? Because in the beginning, he wasn't even in the emperor's eyes. He was just doing his own thing, being a good son, quiet, not.
Well, because he was the youngest.
Yeah, he? I think so. Yeah,
or the second youngest.
He was also not born from the empress, right? He was like.
Yeah, but the empress has no kids.
Oh, she doted on him, right?
She adopted him because of that. The emperor
her mom was. They explained his mom was killed by the empress.
Well, the empress was jealous of the mom because the emperor loved his mom, and then the emperor ignored him because the empress adopted him, and he didn't want her family, her faction to get power.
Right.
Which is ironic since this is the son born of your favorite concubine. Right?
Yes.
How does that work?
Right.
Speaking of the empress, what do you feel like about her? Because I felt she's not a good person, but she's not really a bad person.
I think she's just living to survive. I think like she's in the same boat as every one of them, right? Like she's just trying to not be taken over by some scheming concubine, right? She just wants to be top dog in the female line of power. And she did what she felt she had to do to survive, especially when she had no children.
Well, because, he didn't let her have children.
Oh, because he said that she would.
She didn't realize that. She thought she was barren, but the emperor was very cruel. Remember at the end?
Why did he not let her have children?
He didn't want her faction to have power.
Oh, that's right.
She loved him, and she says, I've always loved you, and I always wanted you to, love me, and I've done everything to, kind of please you, and... and then he basically told her the truth, which is he made sure she couldn't get pregnant. Which was very cruel, right? If you think about it.
Yeah.
The real big bad is the emperor.
Yeah, he controlled everybody.
Yeah, he manipulated everyone.
He pitted them against one another because he wanted to stay in power for as long as he could. And yeah, it was interesting. I wonder how that works.
Well, he got his just desserts.
But I just wonder how that works out in real history, with these emperors who could be easily usurped by anyone.
I don't think that they're easily usurped.
No?
He just doesn't want anyone to have too much power.
He was worried about the ministers having power.
Yeah.
Right?
But the minister was basically I'm the fall guy. Right?
Yeah.
What you thought was the villain at the end was kind of another just tragic figure.
Right.
Because he's like, oh, you thought...
He's also fighting to survive. That's why he faked his
disease?
Disease, yeah.
Well, you remember the whole convo he had with the prince at the end when the prince was like, you're getting your just desserts or something like that? Because he was the one who killed his mom's family. And he's like, you think I could have done that without the tacit support of your dad.
Yeah. And I think you and I talked about this at the time. Like, out of everyone, even though the minister was like not someone we really cared about from a plot perspective, I think from a character perspective, he was actually quite interesting as a character. Like, he truly loved his family. He truly would have done everything to protect them. Like, he was not the emperor. He was the opposite of the emperor. The emperor was the one, like, you know, pitting his kids one another, pitting, you know, the political figures against one another, pitting emperors and kings against one another. But, like, the minister, who, even though in the beginning, they make him kind of sketchy, like, as they over time reveal, like, he knew what he was doing, but he did everything to protect his family. Like, he was going to send his sons away.
Yeah, and the son was stupid.
And it was stupid, he came back, right? But he was like, just go. Like, he wanted them to live comfortable lives. He didn't want them involved in the courts. I mean, I think one son was part of the court, and the other son was not.
The evil general.
Yeah. But he loved his children, which was, you know, even though he put them in difficult situations, they were also positions of power. It wasn't like, I put you there so you can do like shitty things to me, and then if it doesn't work out, I'm going to cast you out, you know? Like, he was like, oh, shit's coming. Shit's hitting the fan, so you should get out. Like, get out, take all your money, or don't even take anything with you. Just take your life with you. And so that was very, I found his character to be quite interesting.
See, now that we're talking about all the characters, the female lead is still the least sympathetic character.
Well, yeah, she's like a child. I mean, it's like
an unreasonable child.
It's a child who is living in her own head, like who only cares about herself. Mm-hmm. Not in a selfish way, but in a very it is selfish. It's an egocentric,
willful, a very willful way, and maybe you don't think willful as selfish, but it is. It is me or that's it.
It's like my needs need to be taken care of first,
and only my needs. Everyone else is wrong if they don't understand me.
Right? Or
she's a millennial.
Stop. Let's not generalize. But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of interesting. And do you lay fault and then the author who wrote her that way? I mean,
I don't know why the author made the character that way. Do you think it was like with a sense of irony, like she's trying to show you, or she found this character to truly be worthy of sympathy? Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you know, the court stuff that happens in the drama is not in the novel, because obviously she's shielded. She doesn't know all the stuff that's happening. It's intermittently sprinkled from where she hears something happen to someone, and so I feel like the scriptwriters took that.
They made it much more complex.
Yeah, they took all the moments that she hears different things, and then they fleshed it out to be more multidimensional. I would blame the author in the sense that I don't want to say I want to blame. I think she wrote this character this way so that, I don't know, maybe she knew the ending. Another spoiler. It's a tragic ending, right? Maybe in her mind, like, there was nothing good was ever going to come out of this. But how do you get from point A to point B if there's nothing good? And so you have to create a character who views the world in such a small, egocentric way where you're not able to, you can argue there is actually no character growth, right? There's no character growth, and therefore she dies by her lack of growth. Via lack of
refusal to grow up, basically. Right. Yeah, inability to evolve.
Yes, if she had been able to grow up or to mature, then maybe the ending would be different. But because she never got there, then hence, I'm not saying that's why she should die. I'm saying that's why she did die. Is how I would. I mean, I don't know what's in the author's head, but that's how I would think about it.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's an author thing, but someone came up with this story, and the source material beget the drama. But I feel like I've only watched the drama, and based on the drama, I don't know how you could watch the drama and walk away like apparently half the people, if not more, in China, or even online, not in China, right? He will watch the show, go, he's an awful person, she's such a sympathetic character. I'm like, Is that the lesson the creators of this story meant to tell? Does that make sense?
So, in the novel, I really didn't like the prince because first of all, he's not very well fleshed out. He comes and goes. Like he's almost like a mirage for her. Like she doesn't see him for days, weeks on end. He shows up, tries to like be affectionate or tries to like win her over, but then when she refuses him, he's like, all right, go to my wife. He had like a concubine or whatever. So he always had someone he could just leave, and he was arrogant, like because he is a prince who became a ruling, I don't know, emperor or whatever. Yeah. So he was like, all right, you don't want me, I'm gonna go somewhere else, right? Yeah. So it's a very patriarchal character, chauvinistic. I mean, I guess reflective of that time period and of his power. I think, going back to what you're saying, I think the drama it still filmed it in a way where she is sympathetic because tragedy keeps happening to her, even though not to her, like to her family, to her friends, to the people she cares about. So I think if you're like just an average viewer who, like, you're not going to overthink it, right? You're just going to watch it, and you're like, and you just see her crying all the time, and all this sadness. Like, I guess at the end you would feel more for her. I feel like the people who see it from a different perspective, like you and I'm not saying we're better. I'm saying I think we're like watching it. We understand that that's maybe what production wants us to feel. But then if they had the actor or the character of the prince be really evil, they could have just made him that way.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Yeah.
So I feel like they wanted you to see the other side, but it's up to the viewers of whether or not they see the other side, and a lot of them did not. I mean,
that's what that's the part that baffles me.
I mean, like I said, I don't even remember the rape scene that clearly in the drama. I mean, maybe it was insinuated, and I just didn't pick up on it because I was too busy reading the subtitles. But in the novel, I really hated him. I was like, oh my god, like, can we just stop?
Well, it's because, like you said, the novel's from her head, and it amplifies everything she feels. Yeah. Right? But the show is not really, like, to your point, only amplifying one side of the story. It amplifies, in fact, more than everyone's side.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, how can anyone come out so biased against one and not, you know what I mean?
Well,
like, there's no nuance in their view of this story as told through the drama version.
Right. Also, you and I watched the director's cut. We didn't watch the normal original cut. So I wonder, through editing, or maybe they didn't lay out certain things. Maybe that's why people...
I think it's also cultural, maybe. People, I think what I heard is the original cut, before the director's longer extended version came out, they don't have as much of the first few episodes set up, like, of why, like, you just see the prince get killed, like the brother get killed and stuff, and suddenly they're going right into the whole, we're now trying to infiltrate or kill the enemy.
Yeah.
But even that, you still see why things happen for a reason, right? And I think my theory is that people who are sympathetic only to the girl is because in their mind it's kind of like, how can any man treat a woman so coldly if he loves her? Like, they want an idol drama. Yes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And you're watching the raw shit, right?
I remember the year this came out would have been
2019.
Yeah. So,
like, you want a fluffy romance. This is not it.
I mean, you had two very pretty people playing the leads, and they were young. And I think what you're saying is right.
Valentine's Day chocolates and flowers.
Like, people wanted the romance, and wanted the romance soured. They blamed the prince.
The guy. Yeah. And it's either or. They're very, maybe it's cultural, like I said. They value, like, family and parents. So if you're responsible for my parents' or grandparents' death, then I will hate you forever.
I mean, it depends. Like, if these viewers are young
and impressionable,
people, I wouldn't say
Yeah.
women, I mean just people in general.
And mostly women.
Yeah, if you're watching it, then yeah, you're gonna blame the guy, and then you blame him for the rest of the drama.
Right, because all you see is that. That's
Yes.
the whole filter, right?
But I think that's
that's a very...
Then doesn't that say something about their own character growth as
That's
people?
what I'm saying. They're not very...
No, because
Mature.
if you're just gonna hold on to, the female protagonist's perspective and feel exactly the way she feels, and you never come around and you never understand. I mean, maybe you never do. I mean, I guess if it happened to me, right? Like if I were her, regardless of my worldviews, my whole family was slaughtered, I don't think I could ever come around. But then it's hard because there was a reset, so she had time to develop feelings for him before she remembered, right?
I think a lot of it is also people talk about how she really hated him more because she fell for him again.
Yes.
And it's kind of
It's
like...
guilt.
It's guilt, so then she projected all her guilt onto him.
Right.
Right?
But I think maybe she also, I mean, I think in the drama he didn't remember doing that either, right? They both have
They
memory
both lost
loss?
their memories. And she hated him for being able to forget. I'm like, dude, you were the one who jumped into the river.
Right. He jumped after you.
He came with you.
Yes.
Without any...
I mean, you both could have died. I don't, that story, that's just, that's what they call the protagonist's halo in the book. They would have died, but no, they both come back and they get to reset.
They get to die again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unreasonable. Yes, I get what you're saying. Like, if this happened to me and my family, sure. But this is where the cycle of vengeance happens in real life, right? Like, oh, you stubbed at my toe, I will chop off yours.
So I think in that sense, if I'm playing devil's advocate, because we do have sympathy for the prince, but if I were her, I think she's stuck, right? She's stuck because she does have feelings for him, but she's also feeling a lot of guilt, and she can't face it. I mean, then, if you want to put it in contemporary terms, she probably had depression, and she felt like the only way out is to commit suicide. Then I think maybe that's why people, like audiences, were able to sympathize with her. Like I don't know, because I'm not.
You can sympathize with her, fine, but you can't blame everything on him. Is what I'm saying.
I mean, I think if you're focused, hyper focused on the fact that he is the reason your life is the way it is, which is that your whole family's been slaughtered and that you're stuck in this palace with no freedom.
He's not the reason, though.
Well, but she only sees him as the reason because he's the guy that was actually there. Right? She doesn't see the emperor coming in with his troops, right? The emperor didn't do anything. The emperor's just sitting in the palace.
She didn't see her own grandfather. Remember, the prince wasn't going to kill the grandfather.
I forget how...
The grandfather said, you kill me so that...
It could be just done.
Right. Like, I don't want you to do anything else. I just want you to kill me, and that's it. Leave my people alone.
Don't let my people...
The prince wasn't out there to be like, I'm here to execute you.
Well, she doesn't know that, though, does she?
It doesn't matter if she knows. In her mind, it's just like, you killed my grandfather.
Yeah, so I think that's why.
But he did it as like a... Actually, like to honor her grandfather's wishes in some ways. Like in the field, they're both military.
There's a battlefield level of respect, if you want to call that.
Right.
And then there's the outside viewing in to be like, it doesn't matter how honorable the death was. It's the fact that he's dead.
Well, he asked you to kill.
But did she see that? Was she there?
It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
The point is, even if he explained it to her, I don't think she would have been
because
okay with
in her
that.
mind, like, you shouldn't have killed him.
Yeah, you should never have killed him. Well, your grandfather insisted I kill him.
Well, no, he only insisted because they were taken prisoner. But yeah.
But does that make sense? Like I'm like,
So I feel like the ending works. I mean, it's not happy.
I don't have an issue with the ending.
I think that's how it's going to be. Because she had too many demons. She could never believe him or trust him. She was never going to come around. It was not like she's going to do a 180. Like, you know what? I'm going to let bygones be bygones and embrace this relationship and have children with you. Like, it's never going to
They really just need to have amnesia again.
Yeah. They need like a second, like a third chance at love. Yeah, so, I mean, I think if you want to in terms of plotting, the author, planned it out where that's the best they could have done with her character. And then obviously he supposedly lived to an old age without her, and he never found another because she was the one he really loved. And I think that, if you want to call an appropriate ending. I thought the ending was appropriate.
I mean, in some ways, he's actually very naive, if you think about it.
Well, he's also stuck in that time frame, right? Like her death, kind of he's stuck at the time. Like because remember he was also like he imagined she was around. Like he was.
No, I don't mean at the end. I mean when all the stuff happened because of the war and the infiltration and betrayal, he still thought that they could make it work, right? And I'm like, that's actually rather naive too, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Right? He thought that he could,
yes,
like imprison or annihilate her people,
and that'd be the end of it.
Yeah, like that's it. We can settle this. Like it's now we're even, right? Like your people kill my family, I destroy your people. We're good.
Right, but that's not how war works or power. So, but well, you want to move on to his other dramas? We can.
I don't know if we have time.
Well, we can do it quick and then we can cut this.
I don't know. I feel like we could have like 2 episodes just talking about,
About My Princess.
Yeah.
So the third one we watched was Truth.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. the show where you said I could just watch a whole video of him cleaning.
Yes. He was so handsome, but no romance in that one really, which is okay.
Until like maybe the very end, when they sort of hinted it.
I was not.
I'm fine because the female lead was kind of She was fine, but she wasn't
like buddies. Yeah. They weren't. There was no. I didn't. I was like, okay, come on, why even put that in there? Like, you don't need to do that. I thought, okay, so I liked. Well, so Truth, which is it's basically a forensics murder mystery drama
with very bad technicals.
I mean, all I can say about it is, CXX was quite handsome. I liked his furniture. he rented like the dingiest apartment you could find in whatever city they were in.
Well, because he had to. That was the only way he was going to live next to her, according to the plot.
He dressed really well. Like, he had nice clothes, nice haircut, beautiful furniture, beautiful like accessories on the furniture, and the nastiest looking walls that look like they need a good, what is it called? Water...
Whitewashing? Or...
Like water...
Power washing?
Power washing, yes.
You can't power wash inside, can you?
I don't know.
It would be a very bad idea.
It just looks like it needed a good scrub. Like a really good scrub. Because it was like gray and... Maybe that's the filter. It just looked like a depressing place to live. But that's all. I mean, it was that. I don't want to go into that. The plot was just sad all around. The plot was sad.
It's almost like a modern Goodbye My Princess on a very small scale. In that both shows are very what's the word I'm looking for? Heavy on irony.
Yes.
There's a lot of irony.
Yes.
This one, the irony is the poor guy. Not CXS's character.
The other guy. Yeah. I mean, he was different. He was also very intriguing. Very similar to the minister in Goodbye My Princess in the sense that, for me, he was a cloudy kind of character. Like a foggy character where you're like, I don't know, should I root for him? Should I not root for him?
Gray area.
Yes, gray
character.
Yeah, like you're like, do I root for this guy or do I go like, no, you're just kind of weird. Like it's not happening.
Well, did you end up rooting? I think I rooted for him.
I think in the end I did because he had such a tragic life to begin with, and he had one shining moment, which was to just get away. Like he had a plan to leave it all.
Yes.
And it just backfired.
And then his pipsqueak of a stupid brother.
Yes.
And the dad wanted to protect the brother.
And the mom just being completely like...
She was the reason in some ways.
She was the reason, but I don't know.
She was both indirectly and directly the reason for his demise.
Right, because she pulled him into this world. He didn't want to be a part of it, but
because she couldn't leave the freaking...
Yeah. So it was I would say like it was interesting, but you don't watch it for CXX. It's not really his
except
story.
when he's cleaning. and all the turtlenecks.
And he's just the smartest guy in the room, and
and the girl's just the dumbest.
The girl is the dumbest dumbest one, and you're like, why?
How is she an investigator?
How are you on the same team? Like, how are you equal footing? I don't understand. I thought, wasn't she a lawyer? Oh, she trained to be a lawyer.
They're all like judiciary investigators or something. I don't know how that works, to be honest.
Yeah, because it was like forensics and legal, which is not what we do here in the US.
Yeah, there's no such function, I don't think.
But maybe they apply. Yeah, I feel like it would be separate.
Like, they're not the police.
No, they're not. But they act kind of like the police sometimes, which is kind of weird. Because they start talking about the evidence from a very legal perspective. And you're like, well, that's not your call. Like, you're just, here's the facts. Like, this is how it happened. Like, why are you applying any legal stuff? That's what the lawyers do. But maybe it's just different in China. What did we see after the truth?
Fall in Love.
Fall in Love. Oh, I forgot.
Which I'm glad we watched it in that order, because I think I knew Truth wasn't going to be like, oh my gosh, great show. So I was like, we better watch that. And it's so far removed from Goodbye My Princess, you needed like a palate cleanser, right?
Yes.
In terms of genre and tone, although now that we think about it, there's that same degree of twisted irony, and you're just like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened to this person this way.
Right. So I did notice on YouTube a lot of people love Fall in Love.
If you're not Asian, not Chinese, you loved Fall in Love, and I totally can appreciate why.
Well, he was playing a very interesting character. I think he was sort of the mix between the second and third soul in Starry Love when he plays the general.
He's the lovable rogue.
Yes.
Like a Han Solo character.
Yes.
But cooler because he wears a great uniform.
Yeah, he looks really good. Very handsome. But I think he's consistent in the character. It wasn't where he was like, I'm doing this to trick people, even though there's an element of him trying to be ruthless with good intentions. I think that is the character. Like, the way he functions in life. Like, he's not like, I'm pretending to be a flirt, or I'm pretending, like, that's just who he is. I feel like that character, he just dials it up a bit when he wants to like get on that girl's nerves or whatever, right? Like, I didn't feel like he was like, oh, it's so hard for me to play this character. Like, no, that's who he is. But it ends up being a flirtatious thing between them because they end up having this unspoken tacit understanding between one another. I think you and I both agreed we liked the female protagonist because she was so smart. Like,
they were equal, well matched.
Yes.
In both love and business, I guess, or whatever you called what they did.
Yes. The opposite of Goodbye My Princess, where she had complete trust in him, even when he did things that would kill a relationship or make a girl...
I know, she was extremely patient.
She was like, you know what? I understand. He's doing this for a reason. Like, she's not like, oh, this is... Like, it's not one of those tropes where you're like, oh my god, we're gonna break up because you did this or that. Yeah. But it was like, she's like, wait, there's something happening. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna trust you on this. And then you explain it to me at some point in the future. And she's okay with that. Mm-hmm. And I think that was refreshing. Like you said, palate cleanser, compared to the previous stuff that we watched, where trust was always an issue between the couples or between friends. I think Fall in Love was kind of cheesy.
But that's what made it so good. It was so cheesy.
It was cheesy.
I think that's why a lot of Chinese audiences bashed it, because they're like, it's so stupid, it's not realistic. I'm like, I don't watch this type of show expecting it to be realistic.
I think it's the same criticism that Starry Love got, which is where you watch it, you thought it'd be like a serious, like, xianxia.
I don't think Starry Love got that kind of criticism. I actually think people watch Falling in Love thinking it was going to be like... The expectation, I think the trailer gave the wrong expectations. Yeah, they thought it was going to be a serious, Republican-era war love story, and I think there was like a decade ago, a precedent set with a high romance of that type that was a serious drama. So that was like the gold standard. I'm like, They're not trying to be that.
No, this was actually the idol drama.
Yeah.
Set in a
All his
Republic
shows,
era.
other than Goodbye My Princess and Truth, are actually pretty comedic in some ways.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, with a hint of, like, there's real, like, when shit happens, like,
there's
life,
real danger.
there's life, right? But there's also, like, well, these are kind of cool and fun people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, and I don't know why. Maybe because he came to like fame on such a serious drama that people expect him to only do hot and heavy. I'm like, no, Fall in Love is a great, entertaining story.
Yeah, I think he enjoyed playing that character too.
Yes.
Like I feel like you can. It's refreshing to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I like that he was. I mean, I like that the character was also kind of unbelievable, right? Like he was actually playing like a legit general who like fought so many battles and won that he had to garner respect, even though he had like no money, no budget, no finances. And you were like, I think in a serious setting,
He's really a bandit lord, you know
Yeah,
that, right? They're not real generals.
No. He definitely was like he just kind of tried to pry his way into that world.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't care that people didn't respect him. He's just like, whatever, I proved it.
Thick-skinned.
Yeah, very thick-skinned. But I think that's what was enjoyable. Like I said, he wasn't pretending to be thick-skinned. He was thick-skinned in the sense of, like, I don't care what the naysayers have to say. Like, I'm here, and, oh, welcome me, and you don't want to welcome me, that's okay. And, yeah, like you said, Han Solo is a very good comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one I have seen lots of YouTube comments where people were like, oh, if you because in my boss, people are like, oh, I just finally realized who this male actor
People
is.
have problems recognizing him, I guess.
I told you that.
I don't.
I mean, now I'm used to looking at him, but in the beginning, I felt like when I saw, like I said, from Starry Love to Goodbye My Princess, I'm like, those don't even look like the same person to me. Like, he looked different. His face definitely got more angular as he aged.
All the muscle building.
And the fat loss.
And gain
that's what he said,
loss.
right? He said he would he would lose fat first and then gain muscle.
Well, that's how you're supposed to do it.
Well, yeah. I'm just
Actually,
saying.
you're supposed to gain muscle and then lose fat because you gain muscle. Anyways, we're not here to talk about body strength building and muscle, whatever.
Well, because I saw him say that in one of his food vlogs. Where he's like, oh, I haven't eaten this for months because I was trying to lose fat. And then he ate a bug and enjoyed it. Did you see that video?
The Shaman vlog? No. I know he ate it. I didn't watch the whole thing. It was too long.
No, it was too long?
Yeah.
Oh, I was watching. I couldn't, like, he was just so enjoying that bug. It's like, this is delicious. And he went back for more.
How can he not eat a bug? It's all protein. If you're trying to build...
They said it's like they call it a sea worm, sandworm.
Oh.
And it's I need to Google it because I saw it, but you know the footage is a little grainy even though it's a vlog. It was like this gelatinous clear stuff with a worm in it, and he was eating it. He's like, it tastes like some other jelly thing, gelatinous.
Maybe
dessert.
it's not the worm. Maybe it's the sugar. Because it's carbs.
Yeah, but he was like, "Oh my god, this is so good! I'm going back for more." And then he was trying to offer it to whoever was off camera, and they're like,
"Ew."
He's like, and someone asked, like, "Aren't you afraid?" He's like, "No," and he's just eating it like it was like the most delicious thing ever.
Yeah, no, I can't even eat like chicken feet.
What?
Yeah, I don't like chicken.
I didn't know that.
I don't eat parts.
Oh my god, do you eat gizzards?
No.
Oh my god, I love
the only organ I eat.
Liver?
No, hate liver. I will eat it, but I won't voluntarily eat it. I will eat kidneys only prepared a certain way with lots of scallions and ginger.
I don't know if I've ever had kidney.
Yeah.
I love liver, gizzards, chicken feet.
Yeah, gross. Sorry.
So good.
I don't even like skin.
You don't like skin?
No.
I like to scrape the fat off the skin. I don't like the fat on the skin.
Like what's left?
Well, it's like a thin, crispy shell.
Okay, so you only eat crispy, like deep fried skin.
Yeah, I'm not eating like chewy, fatty
That's what
skin.
Chinese people do.
No. That skin I don't eat. I eat the roasted, crispy skin.
Yeah, that's not really the same.
Yeah, that's why I said I scrape the fat off. So you just get the outer shell.
Yeah, no, that's cheating.
That's not cheating. It's delicious. Anyways, all right. Just so let's cover the last two. Well, so then it's My Boss, right?
Technically, it's My Boss and then Our Interpreter.
Yeah, because it was a huge time of no CXX.
Just a year.
Well, it seemed like it was like we binged all his well-known dramas and then nothing for like a year.
I think it was a longer gap between Fall in Love and Starry Love than it is since Starry Love.
I don't know. I mean, Starry Love only came out
Last
a year
January.
ago. Yeah.
Or February.
So, okay, so My Boss, you and I. So he had two dramas come out. He had My Boss and Our Interpreter.
Yes.
Which came out around almost the same time. I think Our Interpreter came out like a week later than My Boss.
Yeah, which was unfortunate for him.
Yeah, because so I was watching both of them in parallel because I just watched on YouTube. It was one episode a day, and you were able to binge My Boss because you were watching it on the Youku app.
Yeah.
So I feel like I read the novel for My Boss. I actually did not finish the English translation of it. I didn't finish it yet. Maybe like less than halfway through. So I think the drama is actually very, very similar to the novel, which I was pleasantly surprised by. Like down to like his arrogance, Chang Hung, is that how you say it?
Chan
Hung. Like down to his arrogance, the CXX character. The pompous aspect of him, like the dialogue was almost word for word. And I was like, oh, I really appreciate that they stuck to it in the drama because I feel like that's the humor of his character. Our Interpreter, there's no novel. It was based off of an original screenplay. So in the beginning, I would say the first few episodes, I actually I found the character in Our Interpreter more interesting because there was this sense of mystery of how he and the female lead will get together versus in My Boss, his character was like
a caricature.
Yeah. And you're like, where is this going? And the girl's like kind of she's not buffoon, but she's kind of...
They're all caricatures.
Yeah.
She's more... My Boss is like a cartoon.
Yes. She's very ditzy. So when I first started watching simultaneously, I was leaning more towards Our Interpreter. And then now, as you and I know, My Boss, we both enjoyed immensely as the character evolved.
Very well done for what it is.
Our Interpreter, as of right now, I only got up to episode 20. You
23, 24. I'm like, I'm fast forwarding.
I got super bored. Even staring at his beautiful face, I was like,
I can only stare at him.
I'd rather just look at a couple still shots of him on Weibo, and that's it. Like, I don't need to watch a drama.
He actually really, but I have to say, in Our Interpreter, sorry to cut you off, but I just want to say this. He looks the most like he was when he was 21. Yes. Like you would recognize him between Goodbye My Princess and Our Interpreter.
So I told you I thought he looked more handsome in Our Interpreter. Remember in the beginning I was like, oh, he's more
prettier.
He's prettier. I couldn't figure out why. I'm like, it's the same person. I mean, the hair's not that different. Even the costuming, although
it's very different if you really look at it.
I think in My Boss, he looks hotter.
He's more manly. He's more of a...
His outfits
are better tailored.
Yes, better tailored. I think...
The suiting is a bit fobby in Our Interpreter.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, where did you buy this suit? It's not a bad suit.
Yeah.
But the whole aesthetic of the show, not just him, all the characters. I mean, like, she's like the, head, like, one of the top execs at a giant multinational interpretation company, and she's supposedly wearing really nice clothes, and I'm just like, it looks kind of like someone playing dress up.
I mean, the trend was like oversized blazers with short skirts.
They don't... The fit felt off.
Yes.
They didn't inhibit the clothes.
I didn't know, like, in the beginning scene, remember she was in that white outfit at the whatever cocktail party? It was too short. I agree. I was like, that is not appropriate.
I think in China it is. Did I ever tell you I went to work once? Not my previous job, but the one before that. in the lobby. There were people starting that same day, and there was like an Asian girl. She was wearing shorts with a suit jacket.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, what?
But that's the look.
That was the look. But I
Yeah.
don't think in America people would do that if they knew, right?
Yes.
Like,
yes. I feel like for proper business attire, even at a cocktail party setting, it should be right above the knee.
Yeah.
Hers was like mid-thigh, some sort of drapey thing in the front.
it wasn't even mid-thigh. It was like right under your ass cleavage. Except she doesn't have ass cleavage. I'm not saying she doesn't have a good body. It's just she doesn't have that type of body.
Yeah. So from an American perspective, it was inappropriate. Like it looked kind of like, I'm not saying she's a call girl, but
No, she didn't. She looked classy,
But-
but her choice of clothing, you're just like, oh, that's really not.
that's like going out with your friends. You know, like a night out in Vegas, maybe. Not like
No,
to do an
but she also doesn't
interpreter.
exude that. It doesn't fit, right? It just doesn't. She wasn't exuding sexy, nor was she exuding really professional. It felt like someone's auntie or older mom who was trying to be hip and wore something that was not ill. It was ill-fitting for her.
Yes, yes.
In both sense of the word, in terms of like actually tailoring fitting,
okay.
and then personality, ambiance, right? Like does not scream, oh wow, that's her.
Did you catch the first few minutes? It was like I don't know if it was like a plot thing or like a loophole thing. So you know in the beginning they're like she had to rush to go from like one place to another, and that's why she changed, right? And they said it'll take 2 hours or something for the car to arrive. And then she's like, okay, I don't have time. I have to change, right? I thought they would like disappear into a room. But then they went to a car, opened the trunk of the car, and grabbed the change in clothing. And I always remember thinking, I was like, why didn't they just drive that car? Like, why are you waiting for...
I don't know.
Why are you waiting for...
Now that you bring that up, I have to, I mean, if I remember, I have to go revisit it.
Because
Otherwise,
the whole point was the car service, like the Uber or whatever, it's stuck. It's gonna take this long. Oh, she's like, I don't have enough time. I have to change right now. But it wasn't like they grabbed the clothes from some back room. Like they went to a vehicle to change, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. Just get in the car and start
I'm sorry,
driving.
what? Were you applying logic?
So to me, that was the first red flag where, I'm gonna have to suspend a lot of disbelief because this one scene killed it.
Which we're fine with if the show is entertaining and if it's meant to be that type of show. But this show is not trying to project that at all. They're like deadly serious and really emphasis on the deadly.
Yes.
Because for a show about languages and interpretation, everything is very deadly.
Yeah, there's no lightness to it. I'm like, the fun part of language is that it's interpretive and
they're like, we have all these doctrines and you must know it this way and you must uphold the principle. I was like, what is this, like some sort of manifesto? I mean, they are calling it like
the principles thing was very strange to me because there is an art to translation. I mean, I don't know how it works for like technical documents, but I feel like technical documents would be actually easier to translate than a novel, right?
Yeah.
Like where what words you choose changes the feel and the tone of
and
the author's
maybe the
intention.
cultural thing, right? Because like we're used to not like we're brought up or educated here in the influence of be yourself, go with what makes sense, express yourself and be creative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it feels like the whole thing, maybe it's a Chinese culture thing, it's very dogmatic. Like these are the right answers to do things, here are the rules, you must obey them, adhere to them, and therefore you will succeed. I'm like, that's dogmatic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, by using the right word here, I think it's dogmatic.
Maybe.
Right? Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I mean, there were some scenes where they showed this one girl, if we're talking about language or interpretation or translation, this one girl where she screwed up because she had to translate the word lettuce. But there's different types of lettuce.
Yeah.
And she just wrote lettuce. Like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's a stupid subplot too, because I feel like anybody who is actually in translation would know that you can't. No one would hire you and pay you at God knows how much to translate and have like 10 things of lettuce all saying lettuce. Like, I'm sorry. Like, what kind of elementary mistake is that?
Oh my god.
So again,
the lettuce called lettuce.
right? Do you remember that scene?
Yes, yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is another part, like the van thing, you know, like, oh, we need a car, and you have like a freaking van, and you can't just drive the whole team of people with you. So it was another thing where it was very like, okay, I feel like this is lazy writing.
Or people just who are ignorant writing the script. It's an ignorant script.
But someone, I mean, a whole team of people were okay with it. That's the problem too. I mean, I don't know.
That shocked by the quality of
lack of logic.
Yeah,
or
in especially some of these C dramas.
Like, I feel like the lettuce thing. Like, there are plants that could be mistranslated.
Right, like rarely seen or known.
Yeah, or like radish versus turnip versus carrot. You know, because carrots and turnips are both 萝卜, as far as I know.
Really?
Yeah, but one is 红萝卜.
Oh yeah, there's a difference.
And then 萝卜 is
or 白萝卜.
Yeah, we in Cantonese I never hear 白萝卜. It's just 萝卜. 萝卜 is turnip.
Yeah, you
and
usually
then
put the
carrot
red
is
in front of the
红萝卜.
carrot one.
So if they did something, okay, I know I'm hung up on this.
No Chinese person would ever not make that distinction.
I'm just hung up on that. So I'm like, you know, I don't know, but like, or if you want to look at animals, right? Like goat versus sheep.
Yeah, that's different.
But in Chinese it's just yang. Yeah.
Well, there's shan-yang, which is goat.
Yeah, but if you like,
绵羊 is sheep.
oh, 绵羊, yeah. So in Cantonese, I hear them used interchangeably. So it's context that tells you if it's a goat versus a sheep. But anyways, because I think that was another thing why Americans or English speakers, when they try to translate the zodiac, is it year of the goat or year of the sheep? Because
Or the ram. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's the year of the ram.
Yeah,
Wait, is ram the same thing as a goat?
ram is a male.
Sheep.
Yeah.
Sheet? A sheep. Sheet. Sheet? Veggies?
Ram is a male sheep, as far as I know. I don't know if goats are called rams. Just like year of the rooster versus year of the chicken. Chicken is male or female. Rooster is the male. Because it's rooster and hen. Yeah, anyways, my point is, so, you know, talking about nuances of translation, I feel like there could have been a better version. Okay,
there could have been many things much better.
Okay, back to Why We're Bored. So I was up to the point where, spoiler, but CXX finally, you know, gets together with the female lead, Victoria, Song. But I don't know. I just felt like there wasn't much chemistry. I feel like his character didn't have any more to do in the drama, as far as I could see. Like, he's not even a main character anymore. Like, to me, he's like the very pretty vase that sits there, and she's stuck in whatever translation conflict she has. But like, he's stuck with, I need an investment for my company, or my company's gonna go down, or whatever. And you're like, okay, like, what's the point of this? Like, is this a drama about the business, or is this a drama about the relationship? I mean, sometimes the ones that are done well have both, but I feel like I don't know, the way it's been executed so far, I just kind of lost interest. I don't know if I probably will, maybe. If I run out of things to watch, I'll go back. But My Boss, we both enjoyed.
Yeah, I will rewatch that.
Yeah.
Just like I just, rewatched the Starry Love.
Yeah, I think.
And it was just as enjoyable on the second watch.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, I would rewatch Fall in Love again at some point, probably. Give it some time. And then rewatch. I would definitely want to rewatch Goodbye My Princess, but it will require a lot of balancing. Because it's such a hard to watch in some ways. Not hard to watch. It's not hard to watch. It's just
time consuming.
So fatalistic in some ways, and your heart is just like, oh my god, I need deep breaths while watching this.
At least you know it's coming, so you can anticipate it better.
Yes.
So things we loved about My Boss. So at the beginning, again, it was kind of hard to get into because I think it took me a while to understand the characters. Until you realize, like, at first I thought CX's character was like classic narcissist, right? And then I think like a third of the way in, you realize like it's not that he's like narcissistic in the predatory sense of the word. It's just that he's very intelligent and he has no tolerance of people who cannot help him with his work.
Yeah.
Because he never focused on anything other than I need to make lots of money. Like work is a tool to make money. That's how he viewed work. But then he also enjoys it. So that's also his pastime.
I actually didn't think of him as like a money hungry guy because he's very rich already.
Yes.
He doesn't need the money.
He doesn't need it, but he had... Remember in the beginning, he was very pompous about even the foods that he ate? Like he made her treat him to dinner, and then he picked some expensive... He's like, this is like the lowest... Like, this is as low in quality as I have ever gone to eat. Like, to him, like, and she's like, oh my God, like, this is my paycheck or something.
But it's not about money, right?
No, it's not about... It's a standard of living.
Yeah, he has very high standards,
yes,
I think is
in
what
life.
The character is.
Yes.
So if he does something, he's going to do it to the utmost, like, optimized, right, level. So being a lawyer, he's hyper optimized on being the best lawyer to win all the cases for his clients.
He's competitive.
Right. He's competitive. He memorized all of the laws, which no real lawyer, even the actor, right? He said in an interview, he's like, yeah, nobody needs to actually know
No, you
this.
just look it up in a book.
Yeah, but it's part of the gimmick, right, in the show.
Yeah.
So he's just very, like, whatever he does, he wants everything to be perfect. He's a perfectionist, I think. It's not that he likes money.
Yeah.
Just his name is money.
What is hung? How do you say it?
I don't know, Hun. Chen Hun.
I know Chan is phonetically sound. It's a homonym for money, but I didn't actually look it up to see what the character name meant.
I'm looking up.
But yeah. So
Constant.
For hung.
Yeah.
Hung like hung thing hung.
No.
Oh.
It's not, but that's what it means.
Interesting.
Permanent, lasting, perseverance.
I have to look that up then. I have to look up and think of if I even know that word. Yeah, so I think so. Okay, so you remember the beginning? So, again, spoilers. So there's a scene where she's drunk and he left her. He put her in a cardboard box.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh my God, is he just gonna? Well, because he already kicked her out.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
The first time. So this is the second time and he just like left her on the side of the road because she puked in his car.
His Bentley. Yeah,
and I was like, I didn't really have any warm and cuddly feelings towards him. I was more like, how is he gonna recover from this?
Well, it takes you, 6 or 7 episodes to get like warm up to where the story is going? Because the first few episodes, you're like, what is this ridiculousness? How can anyone be like that, you know? So I think that's what you're talking about. But if you stick with it, it definitely overcomes all of that.
Yeah. But you didn't like how her character
eventually
evolved.
Became... Yeah, it was stupid.
Yes.
Will you agree?
Yes. So, okay. So, I and you and I were texting about this, but like, in the beginning, she was cute. Like, she was kind of cute, and you're like, you can understand why he was thrown off by her cuteness, but also he really liked that she was a hard worker. It kind of is in line with his competitiveness and standard for...
She also was very resilient in that she bounces back because she's such a happy-go-lucky person.
Yes, yes. But it's almost like once she gained a foothold in her own career aspirations, she became like a dead fish. Like, she's very cold, indifferent. Yeah. She was like, I mean, even, okay, so I remember texting you and saying, like, you know what? Even though he's always like, do this, do that, like I never felt like she had hard feelings towards him. And she was like, well, I like to cook dinner and make my meals look delicious and make them look presentable. And she did all that, like, in a very sort of willing, you know, whether or not that's 100% willingness or like 50%. It's like, okay, you know, he wanted me to cook dinner and he likes, you know, okay, I'll cook it and I'll make it pretty for myself. It's not to satisfy him, it's to satisfy myself. And you thought those were like very charming qualities. And then when she became like, I guess, the attorney or lawyer that she aspired to be, it's almost like she had a personality change.
Yeah.
Where she didn't really like, she was really indifferent towards him, even though she had sort of, like, in the beginning she was so eager to please, and then you're just like, I mean, I'm not saying she needs to be eager to please after the fact, but I felt like she could show more feelings, and it's almost like she was like,
she was being very unfair to him, and also punishing him for her shortcomings. Mm-hmm. And I think I mentioned, right, I wasn't sure if it was a script issue or the actress.
I mean, and I have to finish the book, so I'll let you know if that was how she's written as well. But my take on it was, it's almost like she lost the charm once she...
Or it could be the actress, in the sense, you know how nothing is shot in sequence? And maybe they shot... I would be very interested to know what order they shot the episodes or scenes in. Because if they shot this before the earlier parts, you could sort of understand why the dynamic was so different, right? If they didn't know each other that well as actors. But yeah, it was horrible, and it really kind of diminished all the stuff that came before. And I just wanted him to break up with her. I was like, oh my god, just break up. You should not be together. Yeah. But she's like, and people like, even like a lot of the other audiences' comments I read are like that. They're like, she just kind of used and spat him out, it felt like, right? Now, they do try to sort of explain that away, I think, at the end, when she kind of comes clean and says, I just couldn't overcome my own insecurities and I blamed you for it. Like, you know, she kind of acknowledged. But even then, it didn't feel...
It didn't change her behavior.
No, it didn't feel sincere.
Yeah.
It just felt like, I recognize that's my shortcoming. I'm kind of working on it, but I'm not actually going to change my behavior towards you. I'm like, what? Like, dump this person. You're not going to work out.
Well, because she's like, I just need like 2 to 3 years to like become a partner, which is not actually quite realistic. I mean, in American law
yeah, maybe in China it's different. But also, like, she's like, I don't want to always like second guess that it was you that made me successful. I get that leaving the firm was important. You know, I think you didn't even agree with that, right? I can get on board with that. But then the whole case, right, between the two of them on opposite sides, everyone pointed out, like, you would not have gotten the resolution you wanted if he didn't play along with you because he wanted not to ruin your relationship.
He would have been just like, I'm gonna win in this case.
I'm gonna take you to the cleaners.
Yeah.
Your client is doomed.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he was his normal self before being like in love with her, he would have been like, no negotiation.
Yes.
Exactly. Any other lawyer would have been like, no negotiation.
Right. Because it's not a win for him.
Yeah, so she basically took advantage of their relationship. So how can she straight face and say, right, I don't want you to be successful with your help and using you as a stepping stone. Like, you totally use him as a stepping stone.
Right. And then, there was something else I was thinking about. Like, it just escaped my mind. But yeah, I think it was just kind of, it was a shame because I feel like, so you and I talked about how he's not as popular as we think he could be. Yeah. And ironically, My Boss might be the drama that propels him further along in China and maybe outside of China. I just felt like the ending did not allow for this drama to stand on its own in terms of being like a real rom-com hit. Like, you know, like sometimes you watch rom-coms, and which is essentially what it is, but you watch rom-coms and you feel like you walk away, you get like this nice bubbly feeling inside, and you're like, I want to rewatch how they, you know, got from point A to point B at the end. And I feel like because of her reactions or actions to him in the end, even though they added like the whole like wedding scene, the bonus scene and all that, like, I just felt like it's not one that I would be like, I mean, I would go back and watch the first 2/3 of it, and then up until when they get together and then she starts like doubting, I feel like that stuff is almost negligible. Like, I don't need to see that again.
I think it needed more time at the end added on, and they could have probably because there's only 36 episodes. So
Yeah.
It's not beyond the 40 episode
Didn't
limit.
you say
They cut out stuff.
they cut out a lot
I
of
don't know
stuff.
how much they cut out though. They needed more time to rehabilitate the relationship after that whole turn of events where she was like, I need to strike out on my own, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't give it that time. In fact, they just focused on wrapping up all the other loose ends, right? About getting rid of the
the scumbag
evil
ex-husband.
scumbag. Yeah, like
Not
the
her ex-husband,
brother-in-law.
yeah.
And all tying up all everyone else's loose ends, which is fine, but you forgot to sort of give the main couple their due time to rehabilitate their image in the viewers' minds.
Correct. And I lost the thought. I remembered it and then I lost it. I mean, I think going back to what you're saying about her leaving the firm. So I remember I was texting. I said that the way I view it is if she really cared about him and loved him, and on one hand she was upset because people were spreading rumors about her because she's just the girlfriend. But I was saying, if they had already been married and they were working at a firm together, like no one would judge her the same way because they'd be like, it's a husband and wife team growing their law business, law firm business together, like any other business, right? Supermarket business or daycare business, whatever, like a husband and team working together. But I think, and I don't know if this is cultural again, but the context of the girlfriend, she's using him to like propel her career. It's like, I mean, I don't know how, especially as a lawyer, how realistic the accusation can stand, because you still have to go to court and run your case. Like, do people think he's there giving her the notes to like?
No, but she wasn't exactly a successful lawyer up till then, if you think about it.
Well, she had a couple winning cases, right? Didn't she get like a banner? Like they were like, you got a banner. Like she got one or two banners. Like, but then that rival came along and sabotaged her case, and so I think that's when she's like, oh my god, like I'm not as good or whatever. And
It's just as good she sabotaged that stupid woman's case.
Like how do I F up? But then once that was cleared up, I felt like. But she was so hung up on that little piece, right? She's like, I need to go out and do this on my own. But I was like, I remember thinking like, also, like, how do you know, like, there's no other person that will sabotage you at another firm? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that happens everywhere. You just have to be more, cognizant or protective about your work so that there's no opportunity for someone to come in and easily, mess you up.
Yeah, I don't get the whole, like, later she says, I kind of knew like, to the evil woman, like, I knew you didn't like me and you were out to get me. Okay, so if you knew, why weren't you on, like, defense?
Yeah.
Like, you were not on guard and you let her walk all over you.
Yeah, and who leaves
and then you were
evidence unlocked in her drawer?
And you were so helpless the whole time it went down.
Right.
So you are stupid, is what I concluded.
Yeah, so I don't, like I said, I didn't finish the novel. I don't know if that's in the novel or if that was written for the drama to play out the way it did. Like, those are just things I wish they didn't do that way. It could have been done better. Like, angst in a relationship can come from many places.
Well,
I felt like this was a little
in the novel, my understanding is the reason they had that break wasn't because of this. It was because of getting married and having kids, which they glossed over in the show.
Yeah, they don't get to that
And
point.
she got mad at him, remember, also about that? Like, how could he tell the people that they were both aligned on the fact they didn't want to get married? I'm like, it's because he heard you tell everyone that.
Yeah, he overheard her in the restaurant.
So how can she, I mean, I guess she didn't know that he heard her, but that's literally what she said to every one of her coworkers. But in broad daylight.
I thought she said it because he said it, so she was like jumping on the bandwagon of, or Ian LeGrey.
He never said it. Up to that point, not to my recollection, did they ever talk about whether they were going to get married or have kids or anything?
They never said to each other.
She just said that when her coworkers posed that question.
Oh, you know why? Because he told her, I think. He said, before they started their relationship, he's like, you should be single for the next 2 years. Focus on your career. I think that's when he started liking her, but he didn't want her to date other men. So he planted that in her head, and she's like, yeah. And then once they were together, she's like, I'm still going along with that route. I still agree with you. He's
Right,
like,
so-
wait, I don't mean me. I meant like
Right,
the
so
other
how is
men.
it his fault? I mean, it's arguable, right?
I'm not saying it's his fault. I
Yeah.
think he said it to like convince her not to date other men, but he didn't think he would be dating her because he was sort of still in denial. He was jealous, but not like openly aware that he had strong feelings of wanting to date her. He was just like, I'm the boss. Like, she should be focusing all her time working with me. Like, why is she thinking of dating? Like, that should not be in your vernacular. So I don't know.
I just wish there were more scenes. Given how it panned out at the end between them, they just should have given more time to him and his friend.
Yes,
His
I
bro.
love his bromance with a friend. And the friend is hilarious because he never minced his words. He just said exactly what was on his mind. And then he's like, my friend. He's like, yeah, your friend?
What other friends do
What
you
other
have?
friend do you have? With your awful personality. You should ditch this friend. Your friend's awful too. I loved this. And his friend was such a good guy
Yes.
to to his love interest. Like,
Which also made no sense, by the way. Those two sisters are both deadly, to be honest, in some ways. Except the older sister was a little bit more reasonable.
I think the older sister she kept him at arm's length because she actually cared about him.
Yeah, she didn't want to like suck him into her messy life.
Yeah, she's like, my life is a mess. I'm older. Like, you could do better. Like, it was more altruistic versus the main female protagonist, which was more not selfish, but more like not as compassionate towards.
It's about her and only her,
Yeah.
her own uncertainties and insecurities
Right.
and woe is me and yeah.
It's almost like you think because he's so powerful in terms of his status and wealth,
She couldn't compare.
She forgot he had feelings, I think. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even
Yeah.
powerful, rich people have feelings. And it's almost like it didn't occur to her, like, wait, doing this will hurt him. Because, what, is he, like, Teflon? Like, it won't hurt him? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
It doesn't matter if it will hurt him. You should be honest and do what's right by your lover, right?
Yes.
Regardless of whether it makes a huge dent in their heart or not. It's not by degree of hurt that I decide who I hurt, right? Or how I hurt them. It's a sign of respect
Right.
of the relationship.
Yeah, and I think we're in agreement. She did not respect
No,
him in that way.
I thought less of her because of what happened at the end.
And I thought more of the sister, too. Because the sister, in the beginning, I was like, oh, she's so...
Wishy-washy.
But I realized, like, oh, she comes from good intentions. It's like, she does like him. She's not, like... It's not one of those characters that's, like, oblivious to how nice the guy is and you're just using him. Like, she was very, like, I realize he's nice and I realize he's a good guy. And that's why, let's not start anything because it'll just get messy. And she was clear about it. And that's what, like, that was the contrast, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But... yeah, so anyways, I think that was a very long ramble.
I feel like that was its own... You could just cut that whole section as its own, like,
Part
analysis
one,
of My Boss. Which, by the way, I don't think there's any drama reviews of My Boss out there. And because it's considered like a minor
Really?
drama.
I feel like we probably could, like, if
Yes.
we meet again, we should just go into
What do you mean, if
more
we meet
deep-
again?
I mean, when we meet again,
Yeah, I mean, honestly...
I don't
you
mind
could
doing
do-
a deeper dive.
My
if-
Boss, you can even then compare it to the other show that came out that we're like, oh, maybe by then we'll have slogged through it. or
Yeah,
not.
we'll finish it by then.
I think it deserves its own
Yeah.
segment, and we didn't really analyze the Starry Love.
No, but I think this is a high level first warm up, and so we can also let's tell people what we're currently watching. What are you watching right now outside of CXX dramas? Are you watching?
Oh my god, what am I watching? I am going back to watching Tale of the Nine-Tailed.
Oh yes, that one's a
With
good
Lee
one.
Dong-wook. I don't know. I find Korean dramas hit or miss. I mean, I love Lee Dong-wook, but the older he is, the weirder he looks. But he's kind of like a Korean Chen Xingxu to me, even though they don't look alike. In that
He's a good actor.
they're both very like charismatic and mesmerizing, but not like the most popular person. Although I think Lee Dong was pretty popular.
He is popular.
And one of my favorite K-dramas from the way back then was My Girl. He looks so different now.
yeah.
And by the way, if you still have to watch My Girl.
I know. I still haven't watched it. Yet.
And actually, his name in Chinese, has the same letter as
Yeah,
Chen Xingxu.
yeah, you told me that.
So I'm
That's
like,
surprising.
oh. Yeah, so watching Tailed and Untitled, and some of it just doesn't quite make sense. You're really just watching it for him. Again, nothing against the actress or the second male lead, Kim Bum, who's very popular. But for me, it's just, I'm watching it because of him.
So, I'm watching Everyone Loves Me with Lin Yi and Zhao.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't trust my Mandarin.
It's like Zhou also. Her name is literally like
yes, that's it.
also Miss also.
Like because in Cantonese it's so hard to say Zhao Ya, and
it's really hard in Mandarin.
yeah. I mean, but I'm on episode 6 or 7. Like right now at the pivotal scene, so I'm enjoying it because I read most of the novel already. The novel was very quick and easy to read. So yeah, maybe one day you and I can talk about it, or if not, I can talk about it in a vacuum. But I do like it. It's very similar in trope to the other drama that I watched with Miles Way, which you did not watch, which I cannot even remember the name of.
The Sound of or something, right? Is that about
Something
voice?
my name? No, not that one. The Miles Way one.
Yeah, I know.
What is that called? The one with the... Yeah, I don't know. All those names sound very similar. These English names are very generic.
All C-dramas have the word journey or love or the saga.
I'll write it down and mention it next time. But anyways, it's very similar where the guy rejects the girl in the beginning, and then basically the rest of the drama is the guy trying to chase the girl back. I think I tend to enjoy that trope very much because it's, as the commenters would say, it's like slap in the face. Like the male protagonist gets slapped, and then it's like, okay, redemption time. So there's something fun about watching two people who actually like each other try to get together, but under very uncomfortable beginning.
Wait, they were on the same episode of Hello Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's why I knew. Okay. Well, plus Yuku was like heavily promoting it on YouTube. And I was like, oh, that's the drama they were promoting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm enjoying this more than Our Interpreter. Let's put it that way.
Oh, so sad for Chen Xingxu. But it's okay. He has My Boss.
Yes, and then he has the new Doctor drama.
Which, I don't know when... it occurred to me, how there's a rumor he's going to start a new show with Doraba? Doraba looks like the other actress. Was it... Oh, what's her name that he was in the Doctor show, that unreleased Doctor show with? Because they all look very exotic, their features. So I wonder if that was one of the reasons that he pairs really well.
Yeah, he's never not matched with his...
even Victoria's. Actually, even then, they're not... If the show was just about that, it would have been fine. But...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, their chemistry is kind of weird right now.
I would watch, like I said, we should probably make a CP cut of Our Interpreter if we ever make it through the whole freaking drama.
I don't know, man. Even that sounds daunting.
Right, it requires you to rewatch bits of it.
And yeah.
I need that would. Remember I told you the other day I discovered that someone said that there was a feature in the Chinese platform Youku, not the international, that you can just watch only clips of certain characters. So if you only want to watch him or her or them together, you could just be like, only show these clips.
I think that would be interesting.
I need that right now.
Maybe it'll come to the US soon.
Anyways, all right. Well, it's been fun. I don't know.
This is a very long conversation.
I'm not sure this made any sense, but I think we wanted to just get started talking about one of our favorite Chinese actors and some of the dramas we watched because of him, and which I don't think all of them, other than the Starry Love and Goodbye My Princess. Even Goodbye My Princess doesn't get a lot of airtime. It just, because it's older, right?
Yeah, it's considered old.
I feel like we wanted to just give it some airtime and shine, a spotlight on it. So hopefully we get more opportunities to do that, and open to suggestions too, right?
Yeah, this was fun. I mean, this is our usual rambling. We've been friends for a very long time.
A bit more structured than our usual.
We've been friends for a very long time. We always talk about random stuff, but we were told many times that maybe we should just record our conversations. So we'll see. Hope people
Told
enjoy.
by ourselves, right?
We hope people enjoy this or
not.
Or not. It's okay. If
Either
you
way,
don't.
we enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so
we enjoyed
that was
it.
the most important part. So.
Yes. So until next time.
All right.
Okay. Bye.